How do you find yourself avoiding repeating yourself when improvising over the same changes and the same songs every night?
Man, that's a good question. You know, improvising is like anything else. It's like a muscle that you got to work on, you know, and I've been lucky that I've been doing it for a long time. I'm 39 years old. I've been playing guitar since I was 6 years old, you know, so, and I've been playing gigs since I'm 12. So I think the biggest thing for me that's helped me build up all the tools I need to improvise like that every night is hours. It's the amount of hours that I've done it, you know what I mean? And I see that's a difference between kind of younger guys now and the way that I came up, because things are different now. You have so much information available. Guys are way better now, quicker, because there's so much information available to them. But they're not playing all those really crappy gigs like I did from age 12 till 16, 17. And man, those gigs were a godsend, because that's really where I learned the ability to solo all night long and keep having things to say, and built up also, like, you know, the stamina to be able to do that and play all night long. But yeah, when you play the same songs every night on a tour, you certainly have, I like to look at it as like in each solo I have like little landmarks that I try to get to, so I know I want to play certain things, and not have to play them, but there's moments that I like to make happen. But most of the time I'm just trying to completely be a reactive player, which means I just want to play what I'm really hearing at that moment, you know what I mean? And if the band plays something, I want to be able to react. And if the audience is feeling a certain way and I can read it, I want to be able to react. And that obviously comes from hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of gigs, you know, over years and years and years. You know, as an improviser, you build up like this whole suitcase or toolbox full of stuff. And you need to be able to rely on all that stuff. And it's like three things, really. It's all your knowledge, so it's like everything in your head, all the stuff you can learn, all the, you know, what to play where, how to play it, why it works, all the knowledge, you know, and the instincts to be able to know when to play what, whatever. Then you've got like hands, so that's literally the physical ability to be able to play those things that you've learned and done. So that involves working on your technique, working on picking, working on hand strength and stamina, working on whatever. Because if you hear something, you want to be able to pull it off, right? So you learn how to be able to play that stuff. And then the third thing is the absolutely most elusive. It's this, you know, it's playing from the heart. So it's almost like you build up those two other things so that you can forget about them when you get on stage and just play from here, because you have confidence that you know what to do, and you rely on all those years of practice and experience and knowledge, and let it come out in a completely natural way. So, yeah.
Your playing comes across to me. Maybe you'll laugh at me for saying this, but it's like you, at some point in your life you were extremely disciplined. Because I personally don't think that you could play like that if you didn't have a certain mindset.
Yeah.
And I'd be curious about how that developed.
Yeah.
And at what point, what point you were like, look, this is what I got to do here, here, and here.
Yeah.
You know, like when the path opened up is the.
I'm honestly, I'm still very disciplined. But as a kid, I was obsessed. You know, I sat on the edge of my bed definitely from age 10 till 16, 17. If I wasn't at a gig, I was in my room playing guitar. You know what I mean? It was all I cared about, all I did. I spent every minute. And I still, to some degree, am obsessive about being as good as I can be. Now, that's just a personal thing inside me. Like, I want to be better tomorrow than I am today. I want to learn something new. But yeah, I've had to, over the years, let go of certain things on the obsessive side. Like, there would be nights 5 years ago when if I hit one bad note in the show, I'd be fucking pissed after the gig. You know what I mean?
Well, that's another question I have for you is that, you know, when you're playing and maybe it doesn't go the way you want it to, how do you keep up? I mean, because it's a mental thing, isn't it? You know, we're not being so annoyed with what's just happened. Yeah. That you're actually going to try to play at the level that you know you can play at.
Yeah, I had to let some of that go. Also, you know, as silly as it sounds to do this, go up and play every day in front of people and know that 90% of the room is probably guitar players. It takes like a slight amount of ego to be able to do that. You know what I mean? You have to be confident and know, like, at least have faith in your abilities, right? So I have definitely some of that in there. But I had to let go of the desire to just have everything be perfect, you know, because there's no perfect as an improviser. And that's what I'm doing. I'm improvising every night. So no matter what, I'm going to reach for something, and some days it's going to be absolutely like, where did that come from? You know, that feeling of like, wow, I can't believe I played that. Actually, last night, I had a few moments where I played some shit I'd never played. And it, you know, even the guys were like, wow, you played some new shit tonight. I was like, yeah, I don't know. You know, we never know where that came from. You know what I mean?
Like, did you, just out of curiosity, did you sort of, once you realized what you had, like John Patitucci, and
Yeah.
there's a, whatever that thing's called that he put out. But the video is really interesting. It's like, yeah, I have a filing cabinet in 4 categories of things. And I put these, you know, I cut little things out of magazines and I store them away for things to do, so he's always got stuff
Really?
to practice. And I'd be curious how you approach, you know, because there's like a mountain of stuff to play. And when I hear you play, it's just like, holy shit, man, this guy's gone through all this stuff and really nailed it. And it seems almost like an impossible task because, like, you're at the bottom of the mountain and you're looking at somebody up there who's walked the whole way up.
Man,
you know, and I'm curious if you could talk about that.
I didn't actually physically have a filing cabinet or anything, but I feel that way a little bit mentally, yeah. Like I said, it's kind of the toolbox reference. I do see it that way, where everything I learn gets stuffed into this box, right? And I want to be so comfortable with anything that's in that box. So that doesn't just mean harmonic knowledge. It doesn't just mean technical ability. It means, you know, phrasing and time. It means tones and information. It means history of music information. So if something pops in my head and I'm looking to play something Motowny, I know what to play. You know what I mean? So it's all those things get dropped into that bag, and I got to be so comfortable with it that I can just draw on it at a moment's notice.
That leads to another question. How does somebody like yourself, because you're touring all the time, like you know, you did 18 gigs in a row, how do you keep that stuff fresh? I mean, is it, because there's a point where it's like you learn something, and then before you can really use it on a gig, you got to sort of polish it up a little bit, you know, with the metronome or whatever. And then, and then when you're in battle, sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't.
I'm the opposite of that. The second I learn something, I play it on a gig immediately, even if it fails, because that helps me quickly make it part of my vocabulary.
And you think you learn it faster by...
Absolutely. The second you play something on stage, you find, because you don't want to embarrass yourself, so you find some way to make this idea work in a way that doesn't embarrass yourself. And then the next thing I know, it's in there. You know what I mean? It's in my bag. So like I've told this story the other night when I did a clinic, but I was listening to Peter Bernstein recently, and he played a lick that floored me, right? And I realized it was just like, he was just highlighting a bunch of flatted fifths, right? Which is already my favorite note. But he played like a lick in G where he went, he's just playing blues, and he went... I was like, oh, that's a really cool lick, you know? So I sat down and learned that lick, and I played it 20 times that gig night. But now it's like I've already found a bunch of shit inside that is now coming out, you know? Whatever. You know, and it was more like I try to think of every one of those licks. First, I try to take the idea on the stage, and I also try to think what is about this lick or this idea. It could be not a lick, it could be a tone or whatever. What is it about this thing that's making me have a reaction to it? Why do I like this? You know what I mean? And I'll figure out why. It could be, you know, just the way he played it with the inflection. It could be the tone that he used. I'm liking that tone, you know? Or it could be the way he played rhythmically over a beat that I would have never thought to break up time over the beat that way. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, the quicker that I can put something into practice, the quicker it gets under my fingers.
So when you, just to bring you back to the point you made earlier about you want to be better every single day than you were the day before.
Yeah.
When you're touring 18 days straight, how do you find something new every day?
No, when I'm touring, it's more about touring. I'm trying to be more like in the moment every night. I don't like like he asked, I don't want to rehash a lot every night, you know what I mean? Even though it's inevitable, you're playing the same songs, you know what I mean? But I really, I'm trying hard to, when I'm improvising, completely just really be playing what I'm hearing. And that's for me, like, the biggest goal was, like, besides being as good as I could and trying, you know, caring about those things, it was two things. It was finding my own voice on the instrument and then playing with that voice every night completely free and unencumbered.
Connected.
Yeah, just playing like in a truthful and honest way. Because as I've said before, the audience knows the difference when a guy's up there showing off to show off, or when a guy is playing in an unmusical way, or has a completely cash, you know, stock thing that he does every night at this thing, and you know, people know the difference. And I'm really trying to not do those things, you know. Like I've said too before, when I know it's a room full of guitar players, well, I know, you know, and whatever, if I rip off some lick right here, everybody will react. But that's not always the right place to play that riff, you know. You're not playing just for that reason, you know what I mean? I'm trying to play what I'm really hearing truthfully and honestly, if that makes sense.
I was just going to say as well, like in terms of a bit more basically, in terms of like restraint, do you find yourself, obviously, maybe back in the early days, but in terms of you've got all that stuff ready to go, is a lot of it listening to what the rest of the band are doing, or is it in your head, are you trying to hold back?
Well, yeah, you hear us, I mean, when you start learning more things, as you grow as a musician, you hear more, obviously. So you're hearing stuff all the time, right? For me, it's I want to hear it so much that I have to play it right now. I hear it and it has to come out now. This is the time. You got to play it right now. So that's the way I think about that. Now, yeah, when I was younger, I absolutely 100% would limit myself on purpose. I would literally like handcuff myself, and it was like almost like an exercise. Like I would tell myself, okay, if I'm going to play this solo, then I'm going to play this solo all in these 3 frets and these 3 strings even. You know what I mean? And I'm going to say as much in this solo as I can when I'm completely unencumbered, you know? So, yeah, I would sit there and play a chorus like this, like... So I would do that. I would tell myself, okay, you're going to do that. Or I would, the same thing there, like the first lick informs the next lick. It's almost like I'm answering myself, right? So even though that's improvised completely, the first lick immediately told me what to do. You know what I mean? So if I start any lick, if I just went, let's just say, right? I'm already hearing... I find that really helps in creating a conversational manner to your playing, you know what I mean? And that's what separates your solo from being able to be enjoyed by not just the guitar players in the audience. When you play in that way, regular people can latch on to that solo. So it can be more complex, but when you play in that style, those are the type of things that people relate to, you know what I mean? Is that conversational manner in your playing. Yeah.